Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, since technically on paper this is lunch with Mal. Um, I guess I have to say good afternoon because it's like technically lunch. Hey, Jency, it's awesome to have you here. Um, and everybody else who's joining, it's awesome to have you guys here too. And of course, all of you who watch the replay, it's awesome to have you watching the replay. It's kind of repetitive, doesn't it? So today we have a bit of it's a less juicy topic than last week, but it is indeed I think a good topic. Hey, Amy. Let me just get the. I want wide. Do I want wide? No, I want tall. Let's get in the comments on screen so people can see the different comments from the different places. Last week was me getting kind of juicy about that marketer who had listed a bunch of other authors on their page, or not a bunch of other not authors, but people who teach ads on their page. I was calling them out. I haven't gone to check, but I've been informed by reliable sources that all of the competitor names have now been removed from that page. Hey, Dharma. I do kind of wonder. Hey, Monique. Yes, it is. It is indeed 12 Eastern. I do kind of wonder though if the guy fixed his numbering, because right now, like, his list of steps, there were 3 number 2s. I'm curious if there's like a correct number of steps now on his page, but I don't actually care enough to go looking. The one thing I want to chat about mostly today is a relatively big change of wait, Merck. All right, I'm sorry. I've just been completely segued by Monique here, as in MIRC, as in like the client, the old IRC chat system. That's some old school stuff there. That's like predating AOL and MSN Messenger kind of stuff there. Maybe a different Merck. I don't know. The letters are the same, but now they're all capitalized. Okay, yeah. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, IRC is like the OG group chat system. And it, like the Usenet, so far as I know, are still running. The Usenet is the original like bulletin board system of the internet that brought about the creation of the TCP/IP protocol that the entire internet runs on. Sort of a cool notion. You like the old Usenet system. It's kind of like ancient Reddit, still around, totally based, and they were trying to make it so that Usenet users, and this is before the World Wide Web existed too, so Usenet users could the data could transfer better across the Atlantic Ocean. The previous protocols were too slow, and the number of hops for the data to make it across the ocean were too many. And meanwhile, CERN, the people that made the Large Hadron Collider, had built a new networking protocol called TCP/IP because the colliders they're working on are massive, and they had to like make it so the networking could work its way all around the thing. And then they said like, hey, what if we took this new technology we built and put it on the satellites that we use to relay information across the pond? And behind the scenes, without anybody knowing it, the modern internet was born just by a technology swap on an old bulletin board system. Anyway, there's your bit of ancient internet lore. The DoD, U.S. Department of Defense, will claim that they created the internet, and they created email for sure, but the internet was created by a change in software protocol on satellites to make ancient Reddit work faster. Is basically what happened. That's awesome, Monique. That's definitely a rabbit hole. And hey, Jill, using my name. So the thing I want to chat about today, though, is that Facebook has announced, and everybody's chatting about how they're getting rid of placement controls on ads. So I want to talk a bit about that. And a lot of people are kind of treating it like it's like super dire and the end of the world, and oh dear, what do we do? And it's like anything else that Facebook does, right? Like, it's just like, okay, it's a thing that we have to deal with, and we'll just deal with it because we don't really have much of a choice, right? They're going to do what they're going to do, and we just have to understand the implications and then make the adjustments. So that's what we got going. Also, stick around to the end because I'm going to talk about my thoughts about how I think this fall will be different than maybe we initially expected, and some things to keep in mind for the fall. But let me share my screen. Oh, really? Kim Perry. I haven't actually seen the restriction on any accounts yet. Um, I've only like I know what to do in case of it, but every account I've accessed actually still has the old system for setting up placements. Let's see, and Delaney, sorry, my new heart attack is value rules are now letting you pick only gender or placement. I'm using a whole stack of gender, placement, and age. Yeah, I saw David Cochran was talking about it. Yeah. Um, so, and it's interesting what you guys are saying. Actually, I'm gonna shrinkify that a little bit so it's not over top of things. The text there on the screen. Um, I haven't seen that particular scenario, but let's play with it. Gogrin, I think it's Gogrin. Yeah. Um, let's play with it. So there's two places that value rules show up. The first one is up in here, your category value rule, or so your audience value rule. Um, and this will be interesting because previously you could have two different value rules running, one for audience and then one for placement. So let's see what's happened. I got a men. This one I think is I want men 35 plus. Oh, that's right. They got rid of I can't choose under 18 in value rules anymore, which is like okay, cool. Don't show my ads saying when they're 18 anyway. Um, so I want to this one decreases younger men and decreases all women. Cool. That works great. Men 35 plus. Um, now, yeah, look at that. I got hit by this too. You used to be able to do two different value rules. Interesting. This feels like a bug. This feels like something that they screwed up when they started rolling this out. We should not have we shouldn't be limited like that. Because like as of like last week, you could have different value rules in each place. All right, but I can add more rules, right? Because you can add 10 rules. This is gonna be a pain in the butt, but I can be like, okay, I don't want it's gonna be a static image, so I don't want to show in the reels, and I don't want to show in the audience network, so decrease by 90%. And then I add that to my rule. In I think actually in some regards that's probably simpler to have it all in one place. So I've got, and you can see the ones that have no placement rule set them as well. I guess that's okay. Maybe this isn't a bug. But I also don't think it's the end of the world that you can only do the one rule. Um, under account settings, I can't choose feeds only Facebook Marketplace. Not sure what you mean by under account settings, Kim. Unless you mean account controls, because in account controls you can uncheck some of these placements. Like my ads are not allowed to show on the audience network, and they're not allowed to show marketplace and right column because I have this toggle turned on and I unchecked everything. So my ads will never show in those placements at all. And this particular account can still go in and manually edit placements as well. So, and that's what I've been seeing across the board on every account I've looked at. I've not found personally any account yet where I can't go turn off Advantage Plus and turn on manual. But like, actually, I probably have to switch this back to Advantage. You might have noticed though that there's a dark pattern in here. And I'll go back and talk about the value rules a little bit more. Let me try setting this back to Advantage Plus and then refreshing and seeing what we see. Because I might have actually ruined this by clicking on things before talking about them. There we go. So one of the things you'll notice here is they do this thing a lot where you don't realize something is editable until you mouse over it. So a lot of times it can feel like this is just a setting that's in place now and you can't change it when you still can. I'll be really interested to see how long it takes them to really phase out switching over to manual rules, because like it took them a year and a half to get rid of dynamic creative. Maybe it was 2 years. It was a long time from when we started getting notices in the UI saying it was going away to when it was actually gone away. And you can actually still run old ads with dynamic creative even now, like years later. So I'd be pretty shocked if this happened fast. Thanks, Laney. All right, catching up the comments. One value to rule them all. Yes, I agree. Soren is behind this. Couldn't block on not real sidebar. Yeah, so what Laney's referring to is the fact that we look at like the things we can affect here. we don't get a ton of control over what we can affect, which is why thankfully we still got account controls where we can turn off these other things. Hopefully this all sticks around and they don't get rid of this as well, because I tell you, if they start making us show our ads show on the audience network and we can't stop that from happening, I'll be pretty cheesed, because the audience network is garbage. Most of what the audience network ends up being is like if you're playing some sort of free game on your iPad or on your phone and you die and you have to watch a dumb video for some sort of like Save the King game before you can carry on. That's like stuff like that. That's where the audience network ads end up. But these two things together, placement controls and then going and adding in your value rules to the placement rules to the value rules, should do the trick. And I would recommend, what I'm probably going to need to myself is go through value rules that I use and make sure that my placement rules are in there on each of them, sort of proactively being prepared for the potential removal of my ability to control placements on ads that are already made. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. In many previous times, they sort of like let you run things the old way until a deadline, and then they shut off your ads. Other times, they actually have gone in and changed settings on ads to match the new system. And we don't really know which way they go until they actually come into play. But the one thing that I would say you need to do for, my standing sort of advice for ads is, if it's an image ad, don't show it on the video feeds, which are only the reels now. Facebook has gotten rid of almost all of the other feeds, and then if it's video, then you leave it showing everywhere. Basically, nobody engages with stories anymore. You could make your ads not show on stories as well if you want to at any given time. But I kind of feel like stories get such little action that like checking off the checkbox is more effort than it's worth for like how much stories get used. And to be honest, like we go into all the placements here and we look at the other things. We got Facebook profile feed, Instagram profile feed, Instagram Explorer home, Business Explorer, threads, Facebook notifications. And then we've got our the search stuff. Oh, this one's one of the annoying ones where I can't open them all up at once. Some of these different layouts, you can open them all at once, some you can't. In-stream ads on Reels. I don't know if this is covered under the Reels or not. Not being able to choose this one as search results in in-stream ads Reels does kind of annoy me a little bit. I kind of wish that that those were things we could control. But if we go and look at an ad, any ad, we're probably going to find that they don't show there that much. Although every now and then I've seen search results placements go haywire and show a lot. Let me see. I think I still have like a 1 or 2 actual ads running on this account. Here we go. There's an actual ad running on this account. Let's do a breakdown by placements. What am I looking at here? Delivery, placement. There we go. So we can see here, Facebook profile feed. Well, I want to look for impressions. That's what really kind of matters here, right? Like how often is it showing my ad in these places, not results. How often is it showing up there? So I've got the profile feed. It showed one time, right? So like that's what I talk about. Like unchecking the checkbox is more effort than it's worth, considering that it showed there one time and it actually got a result. Huzzah. Facebook Reels, ads on Facebook Reels. This one shows a lot, and this one I'll do some experimentation because I'd really like to find out is if I use value rules to bid down placement reels, will that also bid down ads on placement reels? That's what I'd be really interested in seeing. And then we can see Facebook stories 23 times. Like I said, like they barely show anymore. Interestingly, they have a ridiculously high result rate. I might need to dig into that more. 11 results out of 23. That's really good. Maybe I've been discounting stories. Maybe there's like hardcore Facebook users that are just still in stories land or something. I don't know what's going on with that. That's bizarro world. They're expensive though. Look at that. 51 cents per outbound click. Granted, this is a lead ad and they're always going to be more expensive, but that's still kind of expensive. But it's not as expensive as the regular Facebook feed. So there's that. And then the in-app Facebook feed is where the majority of stuff happens. So you can see in here that there's really not a lot of use of those other placements. So like a lot of times they're just not worth really digging into that much and check and turning them off, especially if you can get, good result rates and good CPCs on them, which you usually can. So it's like, it's the same humans, just in a different spot. The only reason why I'm very against showing images on video placements is because people will click on the image thinking the video didn't autoplay, and then it takes them to Amazon and they're like, what the hell happened? So that's kind of my shtick there. But like I said, like these are pretty minor things. But I will do some experimentation because I really want to find out if I bid down video like Reels, will I still get the ads on Facebook Reels? Because the really weird thing about ads on Facebook Reels is they're designed to actually be images. Like if we go and we edit this and we look at the example, I swear I'm blind. Oh, sorry, it's under more set. Is it under more set? This looks like, what is going on? This is a lead ad. That's why it looks different. Sometimes it'll get you right. This looks entirely different than it did on the one we just looked at on the same account, because the other one was a traffic ad and this is a lead ad. So I got to dig in here. Now I can finally get to the same screen and not feel like I'm losing my mind. But if we look at here we are. Ads on Facebook. So there's in-stream for Reels, which is just like a video in-stream. And then there's ads on Reels, which is actually, you can see here on the right, it's an image that shows up at the bottom of a video. So I'm kind of curious what it will do with those different placements. That's the one thing if there's anything I'm really concerned about here, that's the one I'm concerned about the most. Because if I can't stop that, then I could have images showing up in places where I don't want them to show up on the in-stream ones for Reels. The ads on Facebook Reels, I'm okay with my images showing up there. Yeah, Jill, I hate that I can't tell I can click on without mousing either. It's what's called the dark pattern. It's what they use to like make it so options are still available, but you don't know they're available unless you know they're available, kind of thing. And you got to mouse around, and it's designed to confuse and to make us do things the way they want us to do things. Yeah, like this message here, this is like obviously sort of like the source of truth. I feel like this is what am I trying to say here? This could happen tomorrow. This could happen in 2 years when they actually have this take effect. One things I've noticed though, by the way, customize your creative for each placement and add creative has come back, where you can now like go and actually like change the image for different placements. I found that they hardly ever show the variations. I've got one account where I put in like different images for every possible placement that the image could show in, and it shows none of them. It only shows the default placement one. It's kind of obnoxious. But like down here, like look at this. Like this is like, it's crazy because I've got to like, is it here? No, this is account controls, right? Like that's this thing. Okay, that's not it. Is it here? More settings. Okay, this kind of looks right. If I click on this edit thing, then I get to it, but I might have clicked on platforms first, or it's crazy how different this can look in all the different places and just how convoluted it can be. So I'm annoyed as always. Amy says, for the AI powered Facebook ads, would matter if you're using Codex or Claude Code. What's Codex, Amy? Basically, what Facebook has made available is an MCP connector. And what does MCP? Oh, I always forget. In AI, what does MCP stand for? I always think it's Model Control Protocol, Model Context Protocol. That's what it stands for AIs. Well, I didn't realize that. I've never heard of Codex being called Cowork. Codex is ChatGPT's code. Okay. Well, anyway, let me just make a new chat here. We'll actually show this stuff in Claude. So this is a bit of a segue. The class we're teaching later this year, and the reason why Amy's asking this makes perfect sense. I'm going to be teaching a class on how you can run ads and never have to go into the ad manager ever again. And of course, Amy's thinking of that because it's such a fucking mess, right? So she's like, please tell me that this is going to be possible for me to not have to go into the ad manager. And I've not completely sussed out yet if we can fully divorce ourselves from the ad manager, but I'm like, I think we're very close to being able to do it. And if not, I could probably write some intermediary software that would make it so we can all divorce ourselves completely from ever seeing this fucking disaster ever again. All right, but let me just show you guys something in Claude here. Stop sharing. Share. And a ChatGPT and all the others are basically the same. MCP is like a standard thing that all AI. There's two things. MCP is for like connecting AI to services, and there's also A2A, which is agent to agent, which is a new system coming in place to allow formalize a way for chat agents to talk to one another. But if you go here, like in Claude, and you go down to your name, you go to settings. In here, you'll see connectors, and here's where you can have all sorts of different connectors to different sorts of things. I've got my AI database I've built. You can connect a book report and have Claude like look at your book report stuff. You can connect to Amazon AMS to pull AMS reports. And of course, you can connect to Facebook. And the Facebook one has all of these permissions built into it. Right now, for whatever reason, my permissions are all turned off. Always allow. Give Claude everything. And so everything that's in here are all sorts of things that Claude can do. So it can get custom conversions, data set details, account pages, images. It can access your catalog if you have a catalog in there. I think somewhere in here will be the options to actually create ads. You can like turn on just read-only tools, or you can turn on the read and write tools. But there are options in here to actually create ads. Creative update, creative delete, upload image, upload video, creating experiments, creating pixel events, all sorts of stuff. So my goal is to see, can I make it so that Claude can actually just straight up make all the ads and do all the reporting and pull everything from book report and AMS and dynamically put it all together. And then I could bundle skills that would allow people to sort of be able to do it with like the kind of reporting that they want. And maybe we could get to a point where we don't have to actually log into the system anymore. So that's kind of what we're going for. And that kind of connector setup is the sort of thing that like Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, all the big AIs can do that. And even things like OpenClaw and Hermes, if you use those harnesses, can do that sort of thing too. Holy crap, Kim. It changed to 750. That is nuts. I've never seen anything like that before. You might have to check and see if you have any automated rules turned on. You can see those in the rules section. And there's also like another spot where they can show up to where you can like adjust budgets. The one silver lining, hopefully, is that if it changed to 750 and delivered $242 in royalties, there will be follow-on royalties from that, right? People will, if your books are in KU, people are going to take a while to read them. If they're not, you're going to read through in the series. So it's possible that it will at least break even over time, hopefully. That is wild. I've personally made mistakes along those lines, but I've actually never seen that before. Advertiser settings in here where the rules are. They're always moving everything. Here we are. Let me share my screen here and get it to you. Because there are rules that can adjust your budget. So, that's value rules. Are they in here? Third-party rewarding, social information, nameplates, add account settings. I don't think they're in there either. Hey, there's my phone number. You could call up. I'm not going to answer. I'm going to have to hunt around and see where they moved rules. Automated rules. There it is. I have to go to all tools. It used to be in the quick list here. But there's also two types of automated rules. And one of you have to kind of hunt for. There we are. So there's also auto apply. So you have like rules you've made, and then there's auto apply rules, which is not popping up the window, but it should. It's just being ordinary right now. But there are auto apply rules as well that it can use. So that might be something to look at to see if you have any rules that are doing that. Oh, it delivered 400 and 242. Well, that's better than what I'd assumed actually. Um, Yep, you'll get that now. Whenever you publish an ad, it's not whenever, but a lot of times when you publish an ad, you can get a pop up that says, "Hey, your ad would do better if you gave us a shit ton of money." Obviously, don't do that. But use your own assessment for what you want to spend on an ad. Don't let Facebook start setting your prices manually. I have actually once or twice seen what looked to me like perhaps Facebook was changing the price on an ad like a year ago, but there was small amounts. It was like because I was looking at it and like Sed's daily budget set to $16.27, and I would never do that. So that's kind of what happened in that case. I'm glad that you and or they caught it, and I hope that the ad actually delivers some conversions for you to make it worth that, making me want to go check all the ads I'm running, which is a lot. Actually, I can have Claude check all my ads to see what they're all running at, um, which definitely helps. So, but the big thing, like I said at the beginning, that we need to be paying attention to. I mean, we do need to be paying attention to spend clearly, but the big thing we really need to be paying attention to as well is just that placement thing. I would recommend proactively setting every ad up with a value rule already in place for what placements you want it to show on, bidding down the placements you don't want it to show on, and then also set those account settings so that your ad doesn't show on the marketplace in the right hand column. Right hand column sometimes can work, so you can play around with that. You can look at your results you've got in the past. And that's I feel like right hand column has gotten a lot worse than it used to be. It used to be so cheap that it didn't matter. The clicks were like ridiculously cheap, and now they're like more expensive than regular clicks a lot. So that's why I've turned it off. That covers those 4 egregious offenders when you turn off your account's ability to even run ads in those placements. And then really after that, you're just toggling feeds on or reels on and off when the ad is or is not a video ad. And then you could kind of have all of your value rules in 2 formats, the video version and the non-video version of your value rules. Because I think most of us, most of the time, are setting consistent age and gender things in our value rules. One thing I have found recently, like an author I was working with just yesterday, she'd made a bunch of ads and she hadn't, in like the main audience section, she hadn't put anything in for age and gender. She just left all the defaults in there, and she configured with value rules what ages and genders she wanted to show to, and it was obeying it perfectly, actually. So I was quite impressed with that even without specifying anything in the old audience section, it was doing it properly. I do wish they put the value rules either in their own section or in the audience section. Like the fact that they exist in the conversion section makes no sense, and then they're repeated in the placement section is just obnoxious. Well, that's pretty cool, Kim. That's pretty nice. I mean, maybe there's something to it. The real difficult thing, of course, like taking an ad. I mean, here's one thing to think about. When big company XYZ, right? When ChatGPT, when Anthropic, when Apple, Microsoft spin up a Facebook ad, they're starting at like thousands of dollars a day. The system can actually handle very well high ad starts. I work with some people where we start their ads, their minimum spend on an ad is like $80. They don't start anything under $80. A lot of times we'll start things in the hundreds of dollars a day. And those ads work. The tricky thing for most of us is you're not going to get paid by Amazon for somewhere between 60 and 90 days for the sales and reads that you're getting, which means you got to float, $500 a day for 90 days. And that's what gets tricky for a lot of us, which is why we have to like scale slowly. That's the real reason why scaling slowly is a thing. Breaking ads happens a lot less than people just running out of money. just to put it in out there. That's kind of all I got today on that particular front. One other thing I would love to chit chat about for a second though is if you guys aren't in school, you might want to hop into school, because the class that we're doing right now is a class that I am ridiculously excited about. And yesterday was sort of like the intro to the topic, which is basically the fact that the internet has changed from having search engines to having answer engines, and what do we do about it? How do we get in the answer that the search engine provides? Because SEO is dead. Now we have answer engines, and we need to do GEO, generative engine optimization, to make our content show up properly. So how do we do that? What steps do we have to take to make ourselves more understandable to the answer engine systems. So we're getting the meat and potatoes of that today in the class. So if you're in school, that happens in an hour and a half at 2 p.m. Eastern, and I'm ridiculously excited about. It's I'm a data nerd, and organizing things and making data and like my online presence neat and tidy makes me like irrationally happy. It's so much dopamine for me to do that. And that's a big part of what this upcoming part of this class is. It's about like organizing your presence on the internet in a way that like makes sense and is actually visually clean, and rather than just like, I don't know, there's a bunch of websites that probably have stuff about me on them, you know. um, it's glorious. And so if you love that sort of thing, you're absolutely going to love the class. Hey, Carolyn Eldine, how are you doing? Sorry, what do we got going on here? He says, get your asses in there. I don't know if you can use you won't be able to post links in here, Amy, so you can't use your affiliate link in here, but you can use it elsewhere. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I feel like I should give you guys a sneak peek, since you're the few that are here right now. I'm going to do it. I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek. I'm not going to give you a lot of details. I'm just going to show you this picture, but it's beautiful. And actually, Claude was able to make this picture for me by looking at my data on the internet and understanding the linkages. I didn't have to tell it anything that it's put on here. It was able just to do this all on its own. So let me stop that screen share and start a new screen share window. There we go. I'll turn this off so it's not covering things up. This is a thing of beauty insofar as I'm concerned. This is a subset, because the real thing, of course, would be like so many dots. They'd be small and you'd be able to read anything on it. But this is like a subset of how the answer engines on the internet see me, and how it's all connected together. And the more interconnected these dots are, and the more consistent the things that are inside of each of these dots are, the more authoritatively and confidently the AI will speak about me. So this is pretty cool. So I hope you guys are going to be here. I'll see you in an hour and a half to dig into this, but it's going to be pretty neat. And the thing I really like was about optimizing for answer engines. The thing I like about the most is that it's almost entirely free. It just takes some elbow grease, and the end result is that even if you're like, grr, I hate the AIs, answer engines are evil, I'm going to go use Dogpile for my search engine. Everything in this class also helps with traditional SEO as well. So because it's all about making you more understandable to machines, and whether that machine is an AI or an older algorithm that we don't call an AI, even though it's functionally very similar, it works for both. So what's going on? Awesome, Tanya. It probably will be an hour and a half this time too. So yeah, you will need that. But the recording will get up there. We've already got the recording for yesterday's class up there. This one, of course, will come with some homework, and then we'll be diving into the next steps next week. Next Wednesday and Thursday will be the rest of that class. And then later on, this, like Jill said, later on this year, we're doing the run ads without ever loading the ad manager, and then we're also going to be doing the class on building your author empire on land you own, not land you rent, which I think is super important. I guess this is everything that we have coming soon. Let me show you guys. Didn't want to do that. Wanted to do this. This, by the way, is a website that Jill built with ChatGPT, and it hosts for free on Cloudflare. Doesn't cost us a cent to have this website up and running. Although it looks like it borked and it took out the thing that was hiding part of the old video behind here. So we'll have to fix that. But anyway, these are our forthcoming classes: the AI GEO, Facebook AI powered ads, and own your own platform. And this is the class that we're going to be teaching on how to do things without subscriptions, owning the systems that you use, running them locally, having more of your data, and just like not being at the whim of all these different companies to do every single thing that you need. because we're getting to a point now where a fundamental change has happened in the way that software is written. It used to be that software was prohibitively expensive to write. You had to educate developers, you had to train them for like years and years and years on how to write good code and not make dumb mistakes. There had to be QA processes that involved humans and testing and writing the tests, and teams of people to produce a product, and that was expensive. Producing a good, reliable product was expensive. So you'd work, and you also marketing it, distributing it was hard and whatnot. So you want to make it really good. Now you can sit down with Claude or Chat or a number of different AIs. You could even sit down with some AIs on your own computer, like small AIs that can run on your own machine and write code with them. Code has now become incredibly cheap. And in many cases, it's cheaper just to build your own thing than it is to buy something or rent something anymore. So that's a big part of the change here we've got going on. And there's really small AI models, like one called Quen, that can fit on like a video card, because you have to use GPUs. Video cards are the things that actually run AIs. It's weird, I know. You can get ones for like around $300-$400 that can run like smaller Quen models. Quen is a Chinese AI model made by Alibaba, and which I just find amusing. And I sat down with a 30 billion parameter Quen. To give you an example, Claude Opus is like 2 trillion parameters, maybe more. It's probably 2 or 3 or 4 trillion parameters now to make up the AI. And like a small Quen is like 30 billion parameters. It's like a tiny brain by comparison. And I'm like, make me Pong. And like 90 seconds later, I had Pong. I had the game of Pong with like scores, and it could be 2-player or 1-player. And I like make my asteroids. And 90 seconds later, I had asteroids, like the game recreated from scratch. So our ability to make our own software is growing exponentially. And of course, as creators, we should be thinking like, how can I leverage this to make more immersive worlds for my readers? To all of the things we've always wanted to do for our readers. A game, an encyclopedia, graphically beautiful things. That would have taken so much time to make before. Let me put this back on. Like this particular page, it's a really nice looking page. And this took no effort for Jill to put together. A lot of this was probably created by Chat from having Jill had it read my Facebook post, I'm guessing. And then it created most of the stuff. It's gorgeous. And it took no effort. And that's like such a big thing. This would have taken a lot of time to make before. This page would have been an hour or two of effort before. And one of the things I think is like super cool about this sort of thing is that the amount of electricity and water required to make this page, because the big water consumption with AI is actually just the electricity generation. That's where a majority of the water is consumed. AI data centers themselves don't actually, except in some rare dumb cases, don't consume that much water. But it actually would take less water and electricity to have AI produce this page than it would be to have a human produce the page. So I think it's actually pretty cool in that regard. There's like a lot of pretty nice silver linings wrapped up in that. Look at that, yeah. So it was my transcript and my Facebook page that sort of started as the foundation for that, and then Jill built all sorts of other things off of it. So that is pretty cool, right? So anyway, I'm going to jet because I'm actually also writing a book right now, and I need to do a little bit of work on that before the class at noon. So I will bid you all farewell. I'll see you next week. I've got some cool topics in mind for Lunch with Mal next week. We'll also maybe touch on whether or not Facebook's actually made that change. Oh, wait, no, there's one more thing, because I promised if you stuck to the end, I would talk about the fall. Normally in fall, we're always like, okay, things start to get better in September. We kind of get out of the summer doldrums and the uncertainty of the summer, and then things sort of climb toward Christmas. Over like the last 3 or 4 years, Black Friday has extended from being just like a couple of weeks around of US Thanksgiving to the entire freaking month of November. It started happening, I think, like in 2021. I remember it was the first 20 books to 50K after COVID. I watched just ad costs climb and ad performance tank on November 1st. And I was like, what is happening? That never used to happen. It didn't happen until the end of the second week of November back in the day. Now it's happening on the 1st. we're predicted to have ad costs climb by 25%. And by the way, the way percentages work, that means your number of clicks per dollar will decrease by about 20% in November. And we just sort of just deal with that. And then costs actually come down in December, which feels strange and ironic, but it's true. Usually the point at which costs come down in December is the week after Cyber Monday. So this year, Cyber Monday is on the 30th. We've been having a lot of really late Thanksgivings lately. So costs are probably going to stay high through Cyber Monday week. And then by December 7th, costs should come back down. What that means is your hardcore, lower cost holiday advertising season runs from December 7th to December 24th, give or take a little bit. You've got 2.5 weeks of lower cost, hardcore advertising you can do during that time. And one of the things to remember too is you're not just competing against other authors, you're competing against every business on earth. So even if you're not running Facebook ads per se, you're still competing for mind share. So like think about what you're going to do in that time frame. Think about like maybe special things that are going to get people's attention, discounts, special releases, holiday novella, whatever it might be. That's your time frame. And one of the reasons why it's like really important and really kind of compact this year is because this year is a midterm election in the United States that really matters. So my guess, and this is little more than an educated guess at the moment, is that from probably the 15th of October through to Election Day, which I believe is going to be on the 2nd this year, is going to be pretty expensive and pretty hard to get mind share from your readers. Now, one of your ways around that may be to advertise in the UK more heavily than you normally do in late October. So do keep that in mind. That's going to be a thing that we're going to be fighting up against, especially if you write witchy things or urban fantasy and Halloween is your bread and butter. That's your holiday. You might be facing a harder year this year because of that. And what that really means is you just need to crank in September. September needs to be the month where you get things buttoned up and you make sure that you're firing on all cylinders in September and you start pre-marketing everything you have going on throughout this fall in September, because that's when the marketing is going to be cheap. Reaching the same people in later months is going to be more expensive. So make sure you start priming your marketing in September. That's just kind of my thoughts there. We'll see how it all actually plays out. But like I said, a great alternative is advertise outside of the United States at the end of October. You've got Canada, you've got Australia, New Zealand, South Africa sometimes can work pretty well depending on what you write. And of course the UK and even English books in Germany tend to do fairly well for more speculative fiction markets as well. So you've got a lot of options. You don't have to just limit yourself to marketing in the United States. That's something I would kind of recommend this fall, is to really think about that. And yeah, use what Jill said, use August to get ready for September, because this is basically Christmas is from a business standpoint, Christmas is upon us. We need to have our plans for Christmas, in the works, ready to execute in like the next 30 days or so. Yeah, that's right. Jill did do the holiday promo framework. Okay, I am like getting really raspy and I need liquid. So I'm going to bid you all adieu. For those of you in the class, I will see you in about 1 hour and 15 minutes. And I am super stoked about this. You guys are you're going to fall in love with what we can do about our online presence now and how it can really benefit us. So we'll see you all later.